I'm gonna tell you a story, but the first thing I have to understand is time doesn't work the way you think it does. You can call me Oracle. No one's talking to you. Welcome to the cult. And we are going to move right along with the Omen 2 and maybe 3. Omen 2 is a 1978 supernatural horror film directed by Don Taylor. It is a sequel to The Omen and second installment in the Omen series. It stars William Holden and Lee Granton with Jonathan Scott Taylor, Robert Foxworth, Lou Ayres, Sylvia Sidney, Lance Henriksen, Ian Hendry, and Leo McKern. Set 7 years after the first film, it follows a now pubescent Damien Thorne, Scott Taylor, as he begins to realize his destiny as the Antichrist. One week after the events of the first film, archaeologist Carl Bugenhagen learns that Damien Thorne is still alive. In Acre, Ireland, Bugenhagen asks his friend, Michael Morgan, to deliver a box to Damien's new garden, explaining that Damien is the Antichrist and the box contains 7 daggers of Megiddo. Daggers of Prolea Armageddon. Needed to kill him. When Morgan expresses skepticism, Bugenhagen takes him to a local ruin to see the mural of Jäger's Wall, which was said to have been drawn by a monk who had visions of the Antichrist as he would appear from birth to adulthood. From birth to adulthood! Morgan believes him upon seeing Damien's face painted on the mural, but both he and Bugenhagen are buried alive after the ruins abruptly collapse. 7 years later, the 12-year-old Damien is living in Chicago with his aunt and uncle, Anne and Richard Thorne. Damien gets along well with his cousin Mark, with whom Damien is enrolled in a military academy, but is espied by Richard's aunt Marion, who sees him as a bad influence on Mark and threatens to cut Richard out of her will if he does not separate the two boys. Late one night, Marion suffers a fatal heart attack after being scared by a raven that appears in her room. Over the following days, a number of other bizarre incidents surrounding the Thorne family occur. A photojournalist who tried to interview Richard after seeing Eagle's Wall and Damien in person is run over by a truck after being blinded by a raven attack. Yep. Grims and Ravens. A senior manager of Thorne Industries, a corporation owned by the family, drowns in a frozen lake, and the two employees are suffocated by toxic fumes, following an unexpected gas leak at a factory plant. The later incident also sickens Damien's class, who were visiting the plant at the time. At the hospital, Damien is the only student found to be unaffected by fumes, but a doctor suggests keeping him in the hospital as a precaution. The doctor later discovers Damien's marrow cells resemble that of a jackal, but is killed by a falling elevator cable before he can report his findings. Meanwhile, Bugenhagen's box has been found during an excavation of the ruins and delivered to the Thorne Museum. Dr. Warren, the museum's curator and Richard's friend, opens it and finds the sacred daggers along with a letter by Bugenhagen explaining that Damien is the Antichrist. Warren rushes to inform Richard. Mark overhears their conversation and confronts Damien, who admits to being the devil's son. Damien pleads with Mark to join him on his rise to power, but Mark's steadfast refusal forces Damien to kill Mark by causing an aneurysm in his cousin's brain. A little bit scratchy. I couldn't do the whoopee noise. Shake it. Yeah, too scratchy. Shaken by his son's death, Richard goes to New York City to see a half-crazed Warren before being taken to the rail yard where Eagle's Wall is being stored in a cargo carrier. As he sees Damien's image, Warren is killed in a freak locomotive accident, convincing Richard beyond doubt that Damien is the Antichrist. Upon his return, Richard has Damien picked up from his graduation at the academy while taking Anne to the museum in order for them to retrieve the daggers. After finding them, however, Anne uses them to kill Richard, revealing herself to be a Satanist. Really? The wife? Wow. Huh. Wild. Okay. However, Anne uses them to kill Richard, revealing herself to be a Satanist and proclaiming that she's always belonged to him. As she screams Damien's name, Damien, having overheard the altercation, unleashes his telekinetic ability and wills a nearby boiler room to explode, setting fire to the building and burning Anne with fire, killing her instantly. Damien... Oh, that's cold. Damien leaves the burning museum and is picked up by the family driver as the fire department arrives. Oh man, and the family driver's like, do. Hello, Mr. Damien, how are you? Splendid little fire there with that burning museum. Also, I'm gonna wrap up there so I can recover a little bit. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe.